Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Game Dimensions Tekken 8 JIN. Remember, these are Bandai Namco products, so they are somewhat in line with the Dragon Stars figures. Different engineering mostly, but some things are very similar. They're in that realm. I want to remind you again, they're at a $30 price point, so they are kind of comparable to the Jada figures in kind of a bad way, and also to things like Hasbro's Marvel Legends. I'm going to be referencing both of those as we go, just so that you kind of get an idea of where we're at with this line. But there's some really cool stuff about this figure that I was not expecting at all, and then some stuff that's not so great. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's the same type of package as before. Not a huge fan of this personally. This color scheme doesn't do it for me, but it's not bad. It's a nice looking package. Big window on the front shows the figure. His pose isn't great in the package if you ask me, but you know what, that's their choice, so that's whatever. But yeah, it's a fine package. It doesn't stand out as being especially good, but it is good enough. It's mostly game renders, which you're gonna make the figure look bad in comparison to Unreal Engine 5 or whatever this is. This is probably rendered way finer than that. So, I mean, this is probably promo rendering. I'm doubting it's in-game. So, like, you're gonna make the figure look bad. And also, it's just, like, he's got the jacket and the shirt on, so it doesn't make sense. So yeah, you're making the figure not look great. And apparently, like, he's always wearing the jacket. I'm guessing there's gonna be different skins for the character in the game, but it's weird that all of the artwork shows the jacket and then no jacket. There is a GameStop exclusive version, I believe, I think, of this figure. Does that have a jacket? I don't know. I'll try to find an image and share that with you. But there's the packaging. Let's get on to the figure. This guy stands roughly, we'll say 16 and a half. That doesn't count the tip of his hair, so that's a little bit big for his actual skull and a little bit short for his hair. You can figure it out. About 6.5 inches. Here he is up against Darwin. Definitely a good enough 1/12 scale. Probably slightly big if I had to guess. Okay, question of the day. Who's the main character if you had to pick one for Tekken? Like for me, for Street Fighter, it would be Ryu. Who's the main character in Tekken? Would you say it's Jin? Would you say it's Kazuya? Who would you pick? I'm gonna say it's Jin, but I'm also not the most into Tekken person ever, so you can tell me what you guys think, or if it's like a set thing and I don't know, then you can let me know that too. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic on this guy. It has some of the best and worst looking things that we've seen at this sort of price point. So, like I said, it's $30, $5 more than Jada, and in some ways it's way worse. Very plasticky, unfinished looking things, like his gauntlet looks like butts. His straps completely unfinished. Sculpt is okay, but it just looks super cheap. The skin, it's okay. It's very plasticky. It's not the best looking thing in the world with the ab crunch, and the sculpt is kind of soft but acceptable. The faces, again, acceptable but kind of cheap and toyish. So it's probably overpriced for those things. But then we have other things like the incredible paint job on the pants, which is something like there's nothing to even compare this with. That's not true. There are a few things that have looked like this sort of across figures at this price point or close to this price point, but this is damn impressive. They really did a good job on this paint job. Like really, really good. Both legs, all the way up, all the way down. This one even more so. Incredibly well done. So as far as just even the paint job, I can kind of see where that price point's coming from. And also, we had to talk about the pants, which we will talk about in a minute. Very interesting stuff going on here. And then compared to like Hasbro's figures, I would say this is about the same work you see from Hasbro right here, like this whole thing, except the body's even a little bit better. And then we have the pants and accessories and stuff, so it blows Hasbro out of the water. So I think in that case, the price point is reasonable. So it's just kind of iffy where you get it over by Jada. Now, as far as the pants, I want to just focus on these for a minute. I've not seen this before, and maybe this has been done and I just missed it somewhere. I don't know, but we have a very soft PVC set of pants. It's here for the diaper and it's here for the legs. And it's a solid piece. It's like cloth, but it feels like PVC. I could be wrong. It could be something else, but it does. It feels like PVC. Very thin, very soft. I guess it could be some kind of rubber. I don't know. Doesn't feel like that though. And then it's painted. And I thought when I took this out of the package, well, that's really cool, but there's no way that's going to pose well. And we'll get to this when we get to posing, but it's relevant now. It actually poses just fine. They're onto something here. This works really well, and it doesn't have that weird look of cloth on a figure. It still looks like plastic, but it moves like cloth, mostly. You get to sculpt it, so you get to add those extra details like those wrinkles in there. but it flexes and moves like cloth, they are onto something. I didn't even know companies were doing this kind of thing, or even able to, but it works. I thought for sure the paint would crack and chip, and it kind of will, so let's see. Let's look at that. When you bend it, you're going to see some distortion of the paint. You can see, can we get it any tighter? Yeah. You can see there's cracking and going on, and I don't know how that's going to hold up over time. I'm guessing eventually you're going to lose paint, because you do see some residual crack marks and lines and things, and if you go down like to the ankle and stretch it, did I get it to show? Let's see. If you stretch this, you'll see, there you go. You'll see that it will crack. The paint will pull away from the plastic. So there's obviously a downside to this, and maybe that's why people just haven't done it before. But there's also an upside. Like I said, you get sculpted material that looks like plastic, so you don't have that disjointed look of cloth and plastic, but also you get the benefits of cloth. It's pretty damn cool. I think this is awesome. Will it hold up over time? Time will tell. But so far, this is great. And if you're not going to pose them too much, then it's really great. And if it is PVC, it shouldn't wear down like rubbers or vinyls or things like that just from age. I mean, not as much anyway. PVC is pretty good at lasting. So this is awesome. I think this is really awesome. Really, really awesome. I want to see something real quick. All right, so we do have the 4+ on here, by the way. Remember, we were talking about this at one other point. People like to say Hasbro can't do certain things because of the age limit or the age recommendation on the packaging. That they can't have thin plastic, they can't have accessories, they can't have ball joints, they can't have all these things. It's not true. I mean, obviously there are limitations to things, but other companies are doing it at the same age range, so keep that in mind. This is pretty damn cool. I don't like the plasticky nature and the unfinished nature of some of these things. So that sucks. So it's like half awesome and half terrible. I'm going to fall somewhere in between on the rating and give it a 7, just objectively because I have to find something. But I will say, subjectively, this is an okay way of doing it because you can always add paint like this. You shouldn't have to, but you can do it. And if you are starting with something that's awesome like this, adding a wash to the reds here or adding some details in here, it's not a bad way to get a pretty darn good looking figure. And I will note the shoulders don't have the pinholes in them, so they're definitely increasing their production quality on these Tekken figures. So that's awesome. Now, as far as accessories go, you get the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package. You get 2 open hands, that's pretty cool. You get his lightning punch effect, that's pretty nicely done. And then you get the round 2 display thing, which I think looks like butts. But still, that's a decent spread of accessories again, so I think this price point is getting closer and closer to being justified. Certainly if you're going to compare against like a $35 Marvel Legends figure. So it's not bad. I don't think the accessories are great, but they're good enough. I think we'll go 8. I think we could get higher if we had an alternate head, but not too bad. So let's see how this guy poses. Let's see. I think it's going to be pretty good. We have a ball peg in the neck, which works pretty well. It leans, like it's not perfect, but it leans forward and back, side to side. That's good. And then we have what is essentially a swivel. There's a ball peg, but you don't get a whole lot out of it on top of the neck. But with the 2, you should be able to pose this guy pretty well. It's not too shabby. I think they could have made that look a little bit better for when you lean it back, but it's not bad at all. I'll take it. Shoulders, you get a ball peg to move the arm around to give you some refined posing, some adjustment posing, but it does get gappy potentially, so be aware of that. That's a thing. It does allow you to adjust the height of the shoulder to some degree. You're going to get your full rotation, your bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. It is pinless, by the way, and it's not that much range, but it's better than 90. And then you get ball hinges for the wrists, so you get decent posability so far. Not bad. For a $30 figure, you could do a lot worse so far. Ab crunch on this guy. He has really good range. He doesn't get that pregnant thing that Hasbro does, so it is possible. They still have the flats on here. I don't like the flats. A lot of companies do that these days. I would much rather have this rounded out here so that when it's in here, you have a little bit more of a dip in the side, but when you use it, it doesn't look bad. I think that's a better trade-off, but I mean, that's a subjective thing. And then he leans forward not that well, but well enough, I guess. You do get a ball peg for the waist. It's ugly, because you can see it, but you do get it. So, I mean, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Definitely could be a lot better, but it's there. So, I guess it's all right. And then for the hips, they have the drop downs. I don't like that. I never like that, but let's see how they function. Going out to the side, it's enough. It's not super floppy or anything, so I'll take it. He can do almost the splits. The drop downs aren't really helping with that, but he can do it with them there. And then going forward, he can kick pretty high. I'll take it. All right, they're drop down, so they're annoying to use, but they're not a huge hindrance on this figure. You do get your thigh swivel. So yeah, it works out okay. Double jointed knees, like I showed you, full range, and it's not bad. It's really not bad. I will take this over cloth at this scale any day. Because I don't want the cloth ones, and even if this does eventually break down, you can at least try to avoid that, and you have something in the meantime, so it's a trade-off for sure. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I think this is pretty cool, and as we can come up with new technologies and things to make different plastics that'll hold up and not stress and whatever, this might be the way to go for action figures in the future. And here's the other cool thing about it, I already played with this. The ankles have great range as a result of the cloth pants, cloth rubber, soft plastic, whatever you want to call it. Look at that. It's fighting it a little bit because the ankle's not that tight, but you still get really good range even before it starts to fight. You can see the stretching on the paint, those little lines, but that's still pretty darn good range. Goes back obviously, and you get your ankle rocker. This is a pretty damn cool figure. If it wasn't for the half unfinished nature of this guy would have easily been on my, because I had this before I did my top 10 or whatever it was, 15, 25, whatever it was. But I could see with all this unfinished stuff he wasn't going to make it. But this, in a lot of ways, is a damn cool figure. Articulation-wise, I'll give him, I'm going to say 8. It's not bad. There are things I don't like about it, but there are things that are really good. Really good. And these pants are cool. I can't stop thinking about this, the potential things like this will bring in the future, if not already. Alright, so yeah, final verdict on this guy. Best one of the line, for sure. Which isn't like a whole lot of figures so far, but these pants are freaking cool. It poses pretty well, it looks good enough, and it comes with some accessories. I'm going to give this guy an 8 out of 10. It would be 9 or 9.5 if it wasn't for the unfinished nature of the arms and the plasticky looking body and head. But it's still pretty darn cool. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But that's it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.